Alright everybody, we have an awesome video for you today. Carter Creek Winery and Resort here in beautiful Johnson City, Texas. They've added something unique, a awesome small batch brewery for guests staying at the resort that aren't only about wine. So join me as I meet with the man behind the bottles and the mustachioed malt maestro, Justin Zimmerman at Old 290 Brewery. We're here today with Justin Zimmerman, the head brewer at Old 290 Brewery here at Carter Creek Winery and Resort. Thank you so much for joining me, Justin. I really appreciate it. Why don't we jump right into it? Start, from square one.
I got my start in Lubbock, Texas. I worked at a nice steakhouse and brew pub there, and I started out real small, cleaning kegs, and I'm still cleaning kegs.
Started from the bottom.
I got a machine now to clean them. So I started doing that. After that, I started getting asked to maybe clean out the mash tun and rake out all the grain. So I did that for a couple more years and learned how to clean the system. And then eventually, our brewer, he's a wine guy first, and he started up a custom wine facility outside of Lubbock. Once he took the wine job, the guy who trained me, it fell into my hands. So I got to take over, and I ran that. I was the restaurant manager and a brewer for many years and made that happen. It ended up putting me in a position to serve beer at Kim McPherson's, some of his wine events that he would put on. Yes. That's the beauty about being out here, is we have something for everybody. If somebody, has maybe done 3 wine tours today and they're tastings and they want to come out and they want to try some beer, some people, there's a sign down the road that says, take a break from the grape. Well, we still have the grape, but you can take your break. Those are some good cider buddies down the road at High Cider. So we offer that for everybody to come out and try some beers and have some good food, and you have a place to stay and you have a home base for everything.
I was going to say, man, you got everything but the distillery here.
Everything but
You're surrounded by distilleries too.
And Kim McPherson is really the one that he approached me many years ago when I was serving at his event, and he said, Justin, my brother works for a company that's putting a brewery in the Hill Country. You like the Hill Country? I was like, yeah, I like the Hill Country. I grew up about 2 hours north of here. Nothing happened. Next year, worked the event, say the same thing. Happened 4 years in a row. Finally, on the 4th year, he said, my brother's coming into town and he wants to try your beers. Yeah. I said, okay. So I sat down with John and Kim, and their wives were there, and we talked about everything, and I got a call about 3-4 weeks later, and I drove out here and did my interview. Kind of all worked out, but it's been a fun project. I've been out here 2 years now. Yeah, I've been officially open a little over a year, and so it's been a good thing.
Can you speak at all to how Carter Creek, in general, got its start?
They own a diverse amount of properties. Yeah, everything from a hotel in Orlando to their 2 wineries and other properties in California. And I think he wanted something pretty central. He liked Texas, and he knew this was a very good and emerging wine scene. Yeah, I mean, there's a store down the road that they have a store in Napa, Temecula, and one here. And those are the only 3 locations they have, because they sell a lot of wine equipment, and it just says something about the area. And so that's what Mr. Carter wanted to get involved in. So he drove around, and they found him and his wife, Dawn, found a nice piece of property. It's a visionary. So when he sees something and he can see what he wants it to be, he can make it happen. He's a construction guy, really got his start in construction and landscaping. Okay. And so that's where a lot of his passion lies.
You can tell there's like a very family-oriented and family atmosphere. I mean, like you mentioned, with it being a little bit for everybody, right? You have the resorts where you can come and stay with your family. Then you have the wine and beer for mom and dad, depending on what they prefer. And you know, just very scenic, as we can see in the background here.
Yeah.
You know, really beautiful spot in the Texas Hill Country. How has, you know, the coronavirus and everything that's happening this past year affected the whole operation of the brewery as well as the, you know, resort as a whole?
It definitely slows everything down.
For sure.
You know, when they did the big shutdown, that, you know, probably needed to happen. We made some changes and made some adjustments, and if there's a will, there's a way, and we definitely have tried to find our way. As you can see, I mean, all the amount of space out here, we can definitely social distance properly out here. So we put in the necessary protocols, put up hand sanitizer, all of our signage.
Yeah.
I feel like sign companies during this, it's, you know, that have probably done pretty well because everybody needed signs for, you know, changing policies and stuff like that.
Hand sanitizer, signs, toilet paper, and paper towels. Right?
Yes. Oh, Downey.
Boom.
Oh, they killed it. Yeah, the Charmin bears are good right now.
Delve into a little bit more behind the scenes, how the operation got its start and how it's grown a little bit with some of the equipment.
So what we started out with was a 15-barrel system, and that's what we run with. I do brew half batches in order to have more beers available for everybody. Right now, we have been blessed, and we have 11 beers on. I was like, max, we'll have 8 beers. Last year, I was thinking that. And no, it's worked out because I stay on top of cleaning kegs. So I'm still cleaning kegs. And whenever they're available for cleaning out, I make sure there's something put in there. I'll usually brew a couple batches back to back, and then I can stagger everything and make it all work. Right now, I have 2 batches in the wings waiting for more empty kegs. So once something goes, I'll have something to replace it. But we had to put in some different systems, our grain auger system. We had the mill to grind everything, but the auger was not here. So we had to move our grain room, remeasure the auger, do a lot of that. We had a boiler. A lot of brew houses are direct fire. Some are based on a boiler, and they have a steam jacket wrapped around anything that needs to be heated.
Right.
Boiler systems have been around for a long time, and it's a science to it, and people have it down. There's a union for people that install steam boiler systems.
Yeah.
So in the past, years ago, make an oatmeal stout, and it mashes so slow, and and if you clean that day, you're looking at a 15, 16 hour brew day. So with this one, if I clean the next day, I can usually knock a brew out in about 6 hours and be awesome. The grain to the tank, be done with it.
Efficiency is key.
Yeah.
Now let's talk a little bit more about, you know, the beer, which is, you know, what everybody loves to talk about.
I read something the other day, talked about beers that pay the bills. So that's the ones that are constantly, you're always remaking. It's the crowd favorite.
Yep.
And that's our blonde ale. Everyone loves a really good blonde ale around here. German beers are real popular. This is definitely an old German area. A lot of settling happened here after Civil War. And then we have our Helles. Our Helles is our German lager. We do offer a few lagers right now. There is one that's not in this setup right now, and that's our Ladybird lager.
Okay.
It's a Vienna lager by Style, and it's very good. That's my second batch of making it. It's not as bready and crisp as a Oktoberfest, but it does have a good malt backbone, and it's a really solid beer. But that one's been a real crowd favorite in the blonde ale.
For sure.
Then we can go on to the red. That's an Irish red. It's very tasty, crisp. It's got biscuit notes, a little caramel going on there. It's not an American amber ale. Those are a little more caramel forward, but this one is just light enough and got a touch of amber in there, caramel going on.
Awesome. I'm always gravitating towards more of the mild, like kind of reds and ambers. Those are very kind of simple and not overdone beers, but you know, a lot of times you really can tell a lot by a brewery by kind of how they jazz it up or add some flavor, or maybe, you know, experiment with different ways like bourbon barrel aging or things like that, like we talked about with the brown ales.
Yeah, those are fun beers to make, and it does speak a lot to different breweries whenever they can, you know, get some delicate beers in there and do them nice. Because I mean, I'm a hophead. I love making IPAs. I love going to a place, you know, go to Oregon and there's a brewery and, you know, they got 20 beers and 16 are IPAs, and it's like, wow, you We all.
Oh yeah.
That's
How do you
fun.
distinguish?
Yeah.
So, well, and you mentioned you do have a Smash IPA. I'm assuming that's this guy right here. Is that the Smash?
That's the Double Goat IPA.
Okay. I was really excited when I saw it, but that you are doing some collaboration with Garrison Brothers. That you took one of your brown ales recently and aged it in a Garrison Brothers.
Yeah, just their regular Garrison Brother bourbon. I made an American brown ale and amped it up a little bit. I think American browns are allowed to be up to about 6.5, maybe 6.8. This one's 7.
Yeah.
So I did that, brewed the beer, but the thing with some of my tanks are, you have to have so much beer in there to be able to carbonate it. So
Right.
I had to have at least 2 barrels of beer in there to carbonate. But going in blind, you don't know what's in your fermenter. You have an idea what's in your fermenter. There's no sight glass. So transferred it all into the bright tank, got it, realized I need at least, I want 93 gallons, which is 3 barrels, to be able to finish this off. So I used 4 of the barrels, which is 100 gallons, and then I put the rest in there, let it sit for 2 months. In the meantime, the regular brown, the beer drinker brown, was already done, and so I caked it off. And then once the Garrison Brother Bourbon Barrel one, the Hellraiser, was done, I moved it in, carbonated it, and then kegged it off. And so it's an educational beer. And if we can teach people something about beer, blondes are gateway beers. Wheats are kind of gateway beers. They'll get you started, and then maybe it's easy on the palate, but you can kind of work your way into different beers. So the brown ale, it's really nice. I like just the regular brown ale, and that's what do we got here? So
the brown right there,
and then the bourbon one.
Okay, give it a try now.
Yeah,
we're talking about it. I want to try both of them back to back just to pick up the different flavors. You know what's funny is the smell. You can tell right off the bat which one's the bourbon.
Yes.
But with the flavor, it's more of a subtle difference on the palate. It's a little bit lighter, takes a little bit of that bitter edge off the brown.
It does. Smooths it out a little bit.
Yeah,
you get vanilla notes and stuff like that.
Is that what you're drinking now too?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
that's bad.
Recreationally, when you're drinking, what's kind of like your favorite pour?
From the tank.
Fair enough.
Yeah. No, if I see a Kolsch somewhere, I have to try it.
Yeah.
I like doing that.
Okay.
But a lot of times, I still drink IPAs.
Okay.
That's what I'll find. It's been real cold out.
Yeah.
So yesterday was a porter day.
Oh yeah.
And so my hot tub and a porter is generally a good day after work. So I'll do that.
So good. You're a go with the flow kind of beer drinker. You can never really settle on one style or one beer specifically. You're just, it depends on the mood, depends on the weather, depends what kind of day you had.
Yeah, it's weather dependent. And when you go out to eat somewhere and the way you're asked, would y'all like a glass of wine? It's like, well, I figured out what I want to eat yet. Because I do like to pair. Yeah.
You guys serve food obviously as well. Do you guys do pairings with the beers and the wines?
We definitely do with the wines. Whenever we did our Oktoberfest menu, we definitely tried to focus on the Oktoberfest beer itself, which is that one, and the Helles. So we tried to match up different German dishes with those 2 beers. Now, we sell pizza here, and pizza, pairs well with IPAs and also pairs well with Pilsners. So it's a good thing. Steaks are good with reds. We're going to do charcuterie boards and stuff like that where we can really start pairing stuff up. And there is a whole another level of pairings. I mean, nothing against wine. I love, I can tear up some brie and some white wine. But beer, you can also do the same thing. And they say, the more robust the cheese, the more robust the beer. And you got to kind of match them up.
Are there any other kinds of, give backs or community involvements that Cutter Creek and the brewery have?
Right now, I have a lot of spent grain after batches.
Yeah.
Currently, it is going to Mr. Carter's goats, so hence the name the Double Goat.
Okay.
So I'm giving him some grain, but I'm always up to anybody that wants to get some. They're more than welcome to get it. I don't know how it's going to work this year, but stock show season is big in Central Texas, whether it's a local stock show or San Antonio or Houston or the Fort Worth stock show. After stock show season, generally, those pigs get bigger. What I would like to work with, and I want to meet with a couple ag students and see who's doing the FFA and stuff like that. But if I can, get a trailer full of, 20 buckets after a batch, and then put the name out there that we're all about supporting y'all. If you want it, come get it. So
yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. I know normally you guys have like a lot of live music and everything.
Yeah.
Have you been able to still keep that going through everything going?
We have our stage out there, and that stage actually has wings on each side and a front that pulls out on it, and we are able to still have bands out there. A lot of people usually stay underneath the awnings here, and they'll stay out in the grass. But Mr. Carter is big into dancing, and he's very good at it. So he wanted to have plenty of space for people to dance.
That's awesome.
So that is our plan in the future, is to really have big bands, and more dancing. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. It's not quite time for everybody to start mixing hands.
Wait to see what happens.
Yeah, you keep
open things back up.
Have your dance partner and you keep it.
There you go.
We always do karaoke on Thursdays. That's a fun thing. A lot of locals come out for it. If anything, if you don't sing, it's just fun to watch. But we do that, and there's live music every Friday and Saturday night, and that'll be fun. We really light this place up at night, and it looks really pretty.
Keep an eye out for different events that Carter Creek and Old 290 are doing. Thanks again so much, Justin. I really appreciate you taking some time with me and let me try some of your delicious beer variety, and I'm looking forward to what you come out with next.
Hey everyone, from the Temecula Wine Country to the Texas Hill Country, Carter Creek is more than just a winery and resort. Here in Johnson City, Texas, they sit on over 600 acres of beautiful wine country and landscape. They have cozy villas, on-site spa, and a stage for live music and dancing, which according to Justin, the owner, really loves. They have a steakhouse-style restaurant with locally sourced ingredients, and of course, the small batch Old 290 micro-brewery. As we talked about today, Old 290 features local grains and fruits and truly completes the experience at the Carter Creek Resort. In their own words, they create a paragon of hospitality with something to enjoy for everyone that visits. Thanks so much for joining us today, and thanks so much to Justin Zimmerman for taking time to talk me through not only the winery and the brewery, but also the individual beers and the inspiration and journey that he took to get to where he is today. Super inspiring, starting from a keg washer all the way to the head brewer at a well-known and high-end winery, brewery, and resort. As for Forecast, keep following and subscribing and liking our content. Let me know if there's anything you personally would like to see out of us. We are going to try and make the live streams similar to the Austin 101 and Violet Crown Spirits live streams that we did recently more prevalent. That way we have more relatable, in real-time content that allows us to create a more consistent cadence with the channel, and also allows us to reach wider audiences outside of Texas and Missouri. So thanks a lot, everyone. I really appreciate it, and as always, keep on pouring. Why are words so hard?